So, so yeah, how are we feeling? Here we are coming into our bodies. Let's just check in by rolling our shoulders a little bend in each knee as we roll our shoulders. Just making some gentle movements to check in here. Let your head roll a little bit on the top of your spine as you shift the weight from foot to foot. And just find a rolling sort of check-in here. It's so easy for our bodies to get stiff when we're not moving very much or we're just in our daily routines that are so dependable. So it's fun to shake it up by finding some new ways of moving. And then we're going to rock forward and back in our feet, just up onto the ball of the foot just a little bit and back onto the heel. Bringing your awareness down into your legs a little bit more and into the soles of your feet. And then we're going to find a balancing place right in the center where you can let the sole of the foot really plant into the ground. And then we'll just do a little bounce in our knees to help bring our energy downward. And then bringing your awareness to the breath, you want to find that deep abdominal breath as we do this little bounce in our knees. And this is just going to, again, help us bring our energy down out of our heads, down out of our shoulders. Arms are relaxing, elbows are heavy and loose as we just do this little bounce into our legs. Good. And then we're going to release the bounce. Notice how you're feeling in your legs. Already there's probably a little bit more energy sort of moving in the legs after that. And with a soft bend, just very, very subtle little bend in the knees, softened knees, we're going to find a little bit of a forward and backward tilt here in the sacrum. So you can just get that feeling of a softness through the hips. Yeah. Good. And then coming to neutral, and we're just going to let the hips move from left to right here, kind of hiking up on one side. You can bring your hands to your waist and just kind of notice as you shift into one foot and then the other, there's a little bit of a side to side in the hips. Good. And then we'll come back to neutral. And let's find just this movement here that's circular for the hips. Soft bend again in the knees as we find movement here for our lower back and our hips. Inviting that breath to move deeper into the belly, waist and low back. Good. Let's reverse. Bringing awareness into little areas that we just weren't quite so aware of in our hip joints, lower spine. Waking up this very important area between the legs and the torso. Good. Wonderful. And then we're just going to come back into that neutral position right over our feet. We can let our hands come down and then find that lift through the torso, that length up and out through the crown of the head, and then the softening through the front side of the body, softening and releasing through the shoulders. And just a subtle little nod here of our head as the chin tucks in towards the throat and then releases back kind of to neutral or upward just a little bit. Noticing the back of the neck here as you do this. Good. And then coming to that neutral place where we are more centered in the alignment of our position here. The mountain pose. And then let's go ahead and we're going to sweep our arms out as we inhale and up overhead. Bring the arms back a little bit, lift through the chest as you arch that upper back, and then we're gonna exhale and just let the arms come down. As the arms come down, release the head down, head, neck, and shoulders soften. Good. And then we're gonna roll back up through the head, neck, and shoulders and let the arms flow out and up. Big inhale through the nose and exhaling, arms float back down, releasing head, neck, and shoulders. Good. And let's do that a couple more times. And one more. From here, keeping the arms up, we're gonna clasp the hands, turn the palms up, and then just continue to extend out through those arms. And let's lean over to the left. Inhale back to center, lean over to the right. And just let your body move from side to side. You can even let go of the breath and just let the breath be naturally flowing and let the movement be just a little swifter if that feels good, or it can be really slow with the breath, letting the hips move in the opposite direction as the arms. Good. Coming to center, and let's find a little circling here just with more of the arms overhead. The movement's actually coming all the way from the waist, so the hips are naturally involved here. Good. And then we're going to circle the arms in the opposite direction. You can do this without the arms overhead too if it's too much. Good. Coming back to the center, we're going to exhale those arms down. Good. Let's bring it into the shoulders. Inhaling as we squeeze shoulders up, and exhaling as they get drawn together in the back and float downward. Good. And reversing. Let's go ahead and bend in the knees and find a full body stretch up through our left arm, exhaling down and around. No tension in the abdominal area. So when our breath moves into our center there, and we're making these big full body movements, there's a lot of kind of unwinding and opening that can happen through this whole area. Good. And reversing. Good. And let's just let both arms swing here in the backwards position and forward. Reverse inhaling, arms back. And then exhaling forward with a big open mouth exhale. And one more time. Inhaling, arms flow back. And exhaling forward. Oh, that feels super good for the back. Great. And now we're going to come into the opposite arm. So we're going to inhale, full body stretch through that right arm, exhaling back and down. Good, and reversing. Opening up these lines of energy through the arms, the lung meridian, the heart meridian. Good. And let's go ahead and we're going to inhale again, both arms back. And then exhale, open mouth, exhale forward. Big exhale. Good. Inhaling. And big exhale through the mouth. One more. And exhale. Wow, right? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and move into windmill arms here. So just letting the weight of the arm find a nice swing here. We're very grounded and centered through our legs and lower body. Our gaze can follow the movement of the arms. All the movements we do should feel very good for the body, gentle on the joints. And that connection to breath is really going to feel expansive, hopefully, and cultivate more energy through the body, as well as releasing tension and stress. Good. We'll go ahead and let the arms slow. We're going to step our feet a little wider. Toes can turn out a little bit, and we'll inhale the arms out and up. Now let's turn the heels in just a little bit, and we're going to exhale actually with a flat back forward, and then releasing arms down. And then inhaling, we're going to stand strong into the legs to float our body back up, rolling spine. Exhaling, big exhale here as we release forward, connecting with that amazing support beneath us, the earth, and then rolling back up and exhaling. A little arch at the top as we stretch open and releasing forward. Again, this is a very full body movement. Let's just do a couple more. Big open mouth exhale. And a big inhale through the nose really helps. Good. And this time we're going to stay down and come into straight legs if it feels good. Find a width between the legs that feels good for your legs. And then let's do a little bend into one leg and then over to the other leg. So we're moving a little bit more here into the hips. Checking in here with the inner thigh muscles and also feeling that strength building in the upper legs and the quads. Good. Let's come to the center and just find a relaxed forward fold here. Keeping a soft bend in the knees if that feels a little bit easier to release, especially in the low back. And then inviting that breath to move into the lower back, mid back, upper back, the whole back side of the body. If you feel any energetic buildup, it's really helpful to do healing sounds. And the one for the heart is HA, like ha. And that feels really good just for helping to release a buildup of stress. Let's walk our hands away from our body and find the fingertips and just feel that beautiful stretch through the side body here. Good. And then let's just inch our fingers over a little bit to the left. Continuing to relax into this forward fold here. And then we're just going to inch our fingertips back to the center and over to the right. Good. And coming back to center. Let's heel toe our feet back underneath our hips a little bit more, bringing our heels more together and the toes away. And then we can bring our hips down if that feels good. Our hands are in front of our bodies. And we're just going to kind of rock into the ball or onto the toes of our left foot and then the right foot as that knee comes towards the ground, back and forth. So this was stretching the bottom of the foot as well as the back of the calf a little bit here. And we're also, really kind of deeply stretching into the hips here with this crouched squat position. Squat can be hard sometimes, so just feel into it. Good. And then let's go ahead and bring our hands behind us, and we're going to sit down, bringing the soles of our feet together and letting the knees be kind of in a butterfly open. And we'll just walk our fingertips forward in front of our toes and come into, again, a forward fold, but it feels a little different as we sit here. For me, it feels like my hips are getting a little bit of a deeper stretch with the knees open like this too. Like every position is going to be different. And as we hang out here, if it feels good, we can check in with our head and neck by just doing a little sway of our head from left to right. Continuing to breathe into the belly and into the back side of the body. Good. Okay. And let's go ahead, come to center, walk those hands in. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to stretch our left leg out. And we're going to bring our right foot in a little bit, reaching out over the toe, towards the toes with our left arm. If we can connect with our toes, then do that. Otherwise, your hand can just rest here on your lower leg or even on the floor beside your knee. And we're going to rotate, or on the inside of the leg, we're going to rotate our torso, our spine so that we're gazing up and back. And then we're going to inhale our right arm up and over. Exhaling as those fingertips move in the direction of the flexed toes. Good. Inhaling, we're going to come out, let that arm flow back, and exhaling, arm flows up and over. As we exhale, let's rotate towards our leg. Inhaling, we're going to let that arm float up and back, and we're going to rotate our spine up and look up towards the ceiling. Good. Exhaling, flowing towards the toes, rotating towards the knee. Good. Inhaling, opening. Exhaling, folding over. And just a couple more. And this time we're going to stay folded over. If it feels good to come forward a little bit, lifting that left sit bone and then coming back down. And then we're going to just place both hands on the floor on either side of our leg. And breathe here. Releasing head and neck, making sure to let the head and neck be released. Finding that breath and seeking that comfort in the position. Wherever it feels good to settle in, that's where we want to breathe. Noticing too our edges, where it feels a little bit harder. We can just dance right before the edge and breathe there. And as we allow ourselves time, we'll notice that edge shifts and we're able to deepen into that position a little bit more. Good. And then if we're ready, we're just going to allow ourselves to kind of roll and lift up as we walk our hands back towards our torso. Good. And we'll change legs. So we're going to extend out through our right leg, bring our left foot in, flex the toes of that right foot. And then just lifting up through our right arm. Let's go ahead and reach out and over, extending on above the toes. And then we're just going to bring that arm down and in on the inside of our leg. That way, when we kind of press into that leg, we can feel that rotation in our spine. And then we're going to inhale, our left arm be out and up, exhaling over towards those toes, finding that length through the side body. We'll just take a couple breaths here before we start flowing. So noticing how rooted you are down into the sit bones, and notice how you can really lift up through the fingertips, keeping shoulders are relaxed away from the ears, breathing into the rib cage. Good. And then we're going to flow. So we'll inhale, lift a little bit in the torso as we rotate and gaze back towards our hand. And then exhaling, we're going to go ahead and flow towards our toes, rotating our spine more towards our knee. Good. Inhaling, we're going to open and lift and look back towards that hand. Exhaling, we're going to release forward and rotate towards our leg. And find that flow back and forth in the rhythm of your own breath. Most important is that connection with our breath. That will inform so much, and it will allow our body to communicate to us the most important things. This time we're going to go ahead and stay in that forward fold over our leg, so we'll bring both hands on either side of the leg to the floor, and then we're just going to release head, neck, and shoulders here. Notice where your edges are, and then invite your breath to move into those areas. And we're keeping a little flexion there in our toes. If you want to check in with the calf muscle, you can do a little flexion and point of the toes. Just to isolate that back of the leg. Good. Wonderful. It feels super good. The more time we hang out in a pose and just focus on slow, deep breaths, the more we're able to sink and melt. Good. And as you're ready, you can press into the hands and just start walking them back towards the body as you allow your body to lift, rolling up. Good. And let's go ahead and bring that leg in, and we'll bring both legs right in front of us. Arms can come back behind you, and we're just gonna let the knees do a little bit of, what would this be called? a little lift and release here on both knees as we let go of tension, and then let your legs fall from side to side, your toes, creating that movement through the legs into the hips and waist. Feels so good. Just helps release. We can kind of lift up now through the spine and just rock back and forth on the sit bones. And that feels really good. Makes us a little more aware of how easy it is to collapse in our waist. This makes us a little more aware of our sit bones and how we can anchor down through them. Good. Oh, I love those kind of movements. All right, so I'm going to come sideways here, and we'll bring ourselves down to the mat onto our backs, but let's do that in a way that engages the core. So we're going to bring our hands up above our knees. Our feet are flat on the floor, and then we're just going to roll slowly the sacrum down, finding that low back as we lower the arms towards the knees. And we're going to find that place we can bring our hands behind our legs and just slowly release that low back down. And vertebra by vertebra, we're going to roll the rest of the way. Good. Let's go ahead and walk the feet in a little bit and bring the arms overhead. Inhaling, and let the arms sweep out as you exhale, lifting the head, neck, and shoulders. Inhale, the arms will come up in an arch over the body, overhead. And exhaling out as they come back down to the hips, head, neck, and shoulders lifts. Good. Let's do that a couple more times. Inhaling, the arms flow up and over. And exhaling. Your head, neck, and shoulders lift. One more. Good. And then just staying lifted, we're going to do a little pulse as we reach the fingertips down towards our feet. Good. And then we'll just release the upper back down. And as we release the upper back down, let's roll on the sacrum, coming more onto the tailbone. And then we're just going to release back towards the low back, pressing into the feet. Good. And then rolling forward towards the tailbone, low back lifts a little bit, and then releasing low back down and lifting the tailbone just with hanging back. So we're just kind of rocking on the sacrum here, a little massage as we rock forward towards the sit bones and towards the tailbone. That low back lifts. Good. And then let's lift the feet, bending the knees, and we'll just extend through one leg and then the opposite, finding a little bicycle here. Feeling that engagement in the core muscles. Good. And then let's place both feet down, and we'll keep the right foot down, and we'll bring the left leg, extend the left leg out. Let that right knee fall open, and then the left leg, we're going to find a big circle here with keeping our leg straight. You can let that leg float up and find a smaller circle. That might feel a little better, actually. And you can either keep the leg straight or you can find more of a circling with a bent knee. What feels good for your joints today? Maybe do both. Good. And then let's reverse. So I'm going to start with the leg straight and do a few circles with it straight. And then I'm going to bend in the knee and find a larger circling for the hip. Feels so good. All right, great. So let's bring both feet back to the ground. Knees are lifting towards the ceiling. And then this time we're going to go ahead and let our left leg, the knee fall open, and we're going to extend the right leg out first, and then we'll just bring it up overhead. And from here, let's do, 5 or 10 circles with the leg straight. And then we're going to bend our knee and find larger circles for the hip in the same direction. Good. Let's reverse directions with the larger circles. And then we're going to straighten the leg, continue with the circles in that direction, and do a few more in that direction with the leg straighter. Good. And then let's bring the sole of that foot down, pull the feet together, knees are falling open. We're just going to really relax here for a moment. We can bring our hands to our belly, do a little massage around the navel, check in here. You can feel your hip bones and your rib cage here and all the soft belly area with the organs. So it's really helpful to do a little self-massage. You can find areas that feel a little bit tender and just kind of do a soft compression and breathe into that area. And usually that tenderness will be relieved. Very helpful too to aid in digestion. The flow of digestion goes up the right side of the body, across the top, and down the left side. So finding a big, smooth circling of the abdomen there will be so helpful for digestion. Good. All right, let's release that. We're going to bring our knees back up and we'll hug our knees in. So let's wrap our arms and just give ourselves a little hug here as we bring the knees in towards the chest. And we'll let our head fall as we do this from side to side. Good. And then let's bring our feet up and our arms as well. And we can lift, do a little rocking with the feet towards over our head, and then release the sacrum back down. Feet move towards the hands and overhead and then back. But just rocking our legs forward and back here gives our lower back a nice little massage. If we lift a little bit as the feet come forward, then you can feel a little bit of core work there for the lower abdomen. So as the feet come forward, just doing a little lift. Good. And then releasing that, we're going to do a walking motion here. So our left leg and our right arm are going to slowly float towards the ground and then come back up. Inhaling, opposite arm and leg float down. And exhaling, they float back up. Good, back and forth. Hovering above the ground. Good, one more. Good, let's bend the knees, bring the hands to the knees. And we'll just find a little circling here for the knees. Again, feeling that massage for the sacrum and those gluteal attachments that attach there at the sacrum. And reverse. Good. Let's roll over onto our left side and extend in the right leg, that leg that's on top. And we're just going to inhale as that leg floats up. And exhale as that leg floats down. Inhaling and exhaling. One more. Good. And then now we're going to let that leg float back and forward. And then we're going to bend that knee. Let's place the top, that sole, that foot onto the ground and just roll a little bit forward. And then we can press into that knee with our hand and just push it away a little bit. And that creates, it's like a thread the needle stretch here for the hip. Good. And then releasing that, let's stretch both arm and leg out and just do a full body stretch here on our side before we change sides. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Oh, feels great. Okay, good. Then we're gonna turn over. Well, you can actually just roll over where you're at, but I'm gonna turn over so I can stay facing you guys. And if you have a block to rest your head on, you can use that, or just let your arm be a good rest. And then we're stretching through the leg, a little bend in the lower leg. And we'll go ahead and inhale, letting that leg float up. Exhaling, letting that leg float down. Got a few times here. Good, one more. Good, and then we're gonna let that leg float back and forward. Just use your hand too as a pillow. Okay, great. And then we're gonna bend that knee, bring the sole of that foot right in front of your hip, and then let your hand press into that knee and roll a little bit forward in your body. So you're finding a good stretch here for the outside of this left hip and into the glutes a little bit. Good. And then we're gonna roll onto our tummies and let our head relax onto stacked hands. And then we're gonna bend our knees, let our feet come up, and we're just gonna let our feet fall from side to side. Good. And we'll bring those feet back down. Make sure our knees are repositioned if we need to. And we'll let untuck our toes, just let the tops of the feet rest. Good. And then let's bring our hands underneath our shoulders. And we're just gonna lift in a tiny cobra here, our head and neck and shoulders off the ground just a little bit, our whole body. We're really grounding through our pubic bone, our belly, our hips. And then we're gonna release, head down. Forehead touches the ground just for a moment, and then we're gonna lift again. Maybe press just a little bit more into the hands. Maybe the feet lift just a little bit off the ground too to kind of find that balance. And we're gonna release back down. And one more, lifting. Feet hovering a little bit, balancing as we lift our head, neck, and shoulders. Good. And then we're gonna curl those toes. And we're gonna press into our hands, lifting hips off the floor, walking our knees in, and toes are curled. So we're gonna go ahead and come into our feet as we lift our hips, lifting our hips up high. We're gonna walk out our legs. So bending into one knee as you press through the heel of the opposite foot, back and forth here. Coming up on the toes, press into your hands and just press towards your legs. Good. And then we're going to come forward over our hands, finding a plank, and then back up into down dog, lifting those hips. Good. Let's walk our feet over to the edges, and we're going to just walk our hands back towards our feet, bending in our knees, draping our torso over our legs, releasing through the spine. And as you're ready, go ahead and stand down into your legs to roll your body up. So stacking vertebra on top of vertebra all the way up. Once your head comes up, let's let our arms swing out. And hands together, coming down to heart center. Good. Again, sweeping arms out, up overhead, and together towards heart center. We're just bowing our head in towards ourselves. And one more. Hands together to heart center, bowing in. Good. And then we're just going to let our hands place one on top of the other. Resting there at our heart center. You can close your eyes. And notice how you're feeling. Feeling in the practice today. Yay for movement. Yay for keeping our bodies more open and more happy. One last deep breath and opened mouth exhale if that feels appropriate for you. And with that, I just wish us all a beautiful rest of the day. Lots of energy and a sense of centeredness and peace. Namaste, my friends. Thank you so much.